Today we're going to be going over ratios, rates, and proportions. Now these are worth 17 points on your average test, so definitely a concept worth knowing. So our approach to these problems is going to be to identify ratios, rates, and proportions problems. We're going to read the problem, we're going to create a formula to solve them, and then we're going to solve a practice question. So how do you identify this concept? Well, these questions are going to give you one thing in terms of another. And keywords that are really going to point them out are going to be words like forever or for every, rate, proportion, ratio. So if you see any of these words, it's a good chance it's this concept. An example of what it might look like is for every 3 cups of water, there are 4 cups of flour. And so in this example, we have this for every. So here's our formula to solve these problems. First, we're going to identify the ratio, rate, or proportion. Next, we're going to set up the ratio, rate, or proportion with the missing value. And this is going to be what we're solving for. And then lastly, we're going to find this missing value using our ratio, rate, or proportion. Okay, so let's look at a ratios, rates, and proportions example. So the question reads, if a car's fuel efficiency is 25 miles per gallon, how many gallons of fuel are needed for a 600-mile trip if the car's efficiency decreases by 20% due to poor road conditions? Well, the info that I think is interesting here is the 20. So the info that I think is important here is this 25 miles per gallon. So I'm going to include all of that. The 600-mile trip, and that this efficiency is decreased by 20%. So those are the important figures that jumped out at me for this question. So now let's determine our relationship. So starting with our 25 miles per gallon, we see that it's actually reduced by 20%. And so I'm going to multiply this by 1 minus 0.2. And this is going to give me 20 miles per gallon. Okay, so now I'm going to set up our relationship so we can end with gallons, because we can see here, gallons, gallons, gallons. And so I'm going to put 600 miles, our total trip distance. And then we have to have miles in the denominator so we can cancel. And so we have usually 20 miles in the numerator per gallon in the denominator, but I'm going to flip it, and so we can have miles here. So 20 miles, and that's how much 1 gallon is getting us. And then if we multiply this out, we get our answer of 30 gallons. And this is going to be C for us. So here's us multiplying out, we cancel our units, and C is the correct answer. So for these problems, while Desmos isn't going to directly apply, it can always just be used as a calculator, and if you get in a pinch and can't figure out what to do, it's not a bad idea to spend 30 seconds to try to figure out something in Desmos. Good luck on these.